Welcome to Straight Stitching, where I turn fabric into art one stitch at a time. My name is Tiffany and I'm your guide to quilting with confidence. Whether you're just getting started or you're an experienced quilter looking for new projects, you're in the right place. Today we're going to continue on with our series, Straight Stitching Sew Sampler Quilt. We'll be working on blocks number 4, 5, and 6. Each of these blocks are traditional blocks, so they are patterns that you will see in other places, but we're doing them in a unique way where we're going to be combining them all together in one quilt at the end of this series. In this series, we are making 10 different quilt blocks. Each of the blocks we'll make 2, and then at the end we'll piece them all together for our very own Straight Stitching Sew Sampler quilt. So sit back, and relax and enjoy this tutorial. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review the other videos where we went over the first 3 patterns. There are 10 blocks, as I've mentioned, so after the completion of this video we will be well over halfway completed. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. And also at the end of this video, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. So sit back, relax, grab a notebook so that you can take down the measurements for these blocks, and we'll get started with today's tutorial. Number 3, we will use many of the skills that we've been developing over the course of the last few blocks. This block is exclusively half square triangles, so I have cut out the pieces, and I've cut out pieces for the 2 blocks that we will be making. I have background pieces as well as the printed materials or printed fabric. I have to come up with the right word for that, but at any rate, these are 4-inch squares, and I'm going to make the half square triangles, and then I will trim them down to 3.5 inches, and then I will come back very much like the previous blocks. I will lay out the actual block, and then from there we will stitch all of the pieces together using a 1/4-inch seam. So now I'm going to take these pieces over to the sewing machine, and I will make the half square triangles. I will do chain piecing to do that. For me, it just does it a little faster. So I'm going to put you on pause and then take you over. The half square triangles, I am using the diagonal tape. So rather than drawing a diagonal line on the wrong sides of the fabric, I'm just going to lay out my pieces. So hopefully you can see that. I'm going to lay out the pieces, and then I will line them up along the tape here. So if you take the top part of your square here and line it up with the edge of the foot, and then the bottom point here, line it up with the blue line, and depending on how you lay out the tape, it might be the black line. But then that will give you a 1/4-inch seam once you do both sides. So using the diagonal tape just helps to make this process a bit faster, so you don't have to draw on the diagonal lines. So when you're doing the half square triangles, if you had drawn a line on the material, I'll just do that here so you can get a better visual. So with the line drawn on each piece of material, really what you're doing is you're lining the line up with the edge of your foot, and then you're just sewing the length of that line all the way across your block. Again, the diagonal tape helps to speed that process up because as you can see, I'm just lining up the top of the square here with the edge of the foot, and then the bottom of the square with the blue line. And hopefully you can see that if I had extended this line, it would extend all the way down to the blue line. So the tape helps to speed up that process so that you don't have to actually draw those lines on. When you finish the first run through of the block, you will have obviously the first stitch, and so then that stitch is here. It ends up being 1/4 of an inch away from the line that you would have drawn if there, or really just 1/4 of an inch away from the center line of this block. So you'll go through and do all of one side is what I do when I'm doing the chain piecing. I cut them all apart. You can see here, so I've done all of one side. The pieces are attached, but I cut them apart and then take them back through the machine going up the other side. Some people leave them attached and then separate them afterwards. I like to cut them first. Okay, so each of the squares have the stitch lines down the middle, so I can now take them back over to my cutting station and cut along that diagonal, or 1/4 inch in from the stitch line here, and then that will give me my 2 half square triangles per square. So we will go over to the cutting station. We will cut these into separate HSTs, and then we'll iron them, and then trim them and get them placed for how they will be positioned for the actual block that we're going to piece together. So if you had have drawn the line on each of the squares, then really what you would be doing now is lining your ruler up along that drawn on line, and then cutting the square along that line. And for the blocks where we did not draw the line on, you're going to take your ruler and line your 1/4 inch mark on one of the stitches, on one of the lines that you sewn on, and then you're going to cut there, which will effectively be the same as cutting down a drawn on line had you done so. With all of the half square triangles now separated, I'm going to go through and finger press each of the seams open, and then I will take them over to the pressing station and press the seams open, and then I will come back here and trim them to 3.5 inches squared. All of the half square triangles are pressed open. The seams are pressed open. And so now I'm going to go through the process of trimming each of these blocks into 3.5 inches. And so if you recall from the first block and block number 2, what we're going to do is to take a ruler. I'm using this 4.5 inch square Creative Grids ruler. And you're going to take this ruler, and there's a diagonal line diagonally across this ruler. And so you want to line this line up against the diagonal line that's on your half square triangle. Okay, And then you're going to want to make 2 cuts so that you have 2 straight surfaces to start from. So I'm just going to eyeball this here. So I'm going to just cut these 2 pieces here. With half square triangles, it is helpful but not necessary to have a mat that rotates. But it's totally not necessary, so don't go out and buy one if you don't have one already. Okay, so now I have the 2 straight edges here, and so what I want to do is line my ruler up at the 3.5 inch line on these 2 straight edges. And so hopefully you can see this. This is the 3.5 inch line here, and so I've placed that on the straight and just messed that up. So we will line it up again. Okay, so I have lined the diagonal across the diagonal on the block, and I've lined up my straight edges on the 3.5 inch line of this ruler. And so now what I'm going to do is cut the excess material on the other 2 sides. Okay, and so then that leaves me with a perfectly square that is 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So I'll do one more on camera, and then I'm going to go off camera and complete the rest of the squares, and then I'll come back with the with all the pieces of the block lined up or laid out, I'll say, and then we will begin the process of stitching this particular block. So again, I've lined up the diagonal line on the ruler with the diagonal on the half square triangle, and you want to get as close to this outside edge as you can, because you want to make sure that you don't cut off too much material where you won't be able to do the size block that you're intending. So it really doesn't require that you cut very much, just that you are creating 2 straight edges here. So now I have my straight edges, and you can see, I don't know if you can see this or not, but very little was cut there. So I have my 2 straight edges, and I'm going to again line my ruler up on the diagonal at the 3.5 inch mark, and then I'm going to cut the excess material. Okay, so I have my second 3.5 inch block, or 3.5 inch half square triangle. So again, I'm going to go off camera and complete this activity, and then I will come back with the block laid out, and then we will piece it together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, we're ready to start piecing together block number 4. Block number 4 is actually titled Mosaic number 18. And so I have all of the pieces laid out here, and I'm going to go through the process of stitching them together. I will stitch it using chain piecing, so just one piece after the other. I'm going to do these 2 columns first, and then I will do these 2 columns, and then from there I will connect the 2 halves of each of the rows, and then I will piece the rows together, and then finally we'll have 2 completed quilt blocks. Four rows are now completed, and so the next thing will be to pin them together, and then to stitch the 2 rows together, 2 here, 2 here, and then the 2 halves of the quilt block. So I know I mentioned in previous videos that I like to take the time to pin, just because I want to make sure the points are as crisp as possible, but it's not necessary. So if you wanted to just hold them together, I've seen people do that, hold them with their fingers. I've seen people use Wonder Clips. Whatever is your preference is what you should follow. I prefer to pin them just so that I have a bit more a sense of security in that they won't move around too much. But quilting is very much a matter of your personal preference. I know that there are many old school quilters who have hard and fast things that they believe are quilt rules that everyone must follow, but the reality is you can do it however you like. Block number 4 is completed, so this is mosaic number 18. For this particular block, it's made up of all half square triangles. So for each of the pieces, they started out as 4-inch squared 4-inch squared squares, and then I sewed them together to create half square triangles, and then trim each of those half square triangles down to 3.5 inches. So one way that I count these things so that I can figure out how many of each color block I need, I would count them as, let me just show you how I would do that. It's pretty straightforward. So you know, for each 4-inch square, you're going to end up with 2 half square triangles. So this would be 1 yellow 4-inch square that you would need, and 1 white. Again, so 1 yellow, 1 yellow, and 1 yellow and 1 white. So then when you're looking at a pattern like this, trying to figure out how many of each color you would need to cut out, for this one you could say for sure that you would need 4 yellow squares that are 4 inches squared, and then you would need 4 white squares to go with those, and then the same for the color coordinated ones as well. So you have 2 orange pieces here, so you know that that started out as 1 4-inch squared orange square, and then same for the polka dot. So for the orange, I use 2 4-inch squared orange pieces. I use 4 of the yellow ones, and then also 2 of the half square triangles, and then, you know, the white pieces to go with them. So when you're looking at the pattern or the image that you see in the video, it will say, for example, it would have said 4 blocks for the polka dot pieces here, and so I just would divide that by 2 to know that to create 4 of these half square triangles, I actually need 2 squares of the polka dot material that are 4-inch squares. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, this is block number 4. Starting our 5th block of our series, the straight stitching sew sampler quilt. This particular quilt has 9 different blocks. This is block 5. It is made up of 3.5-inch squares. All of your solid pieces are made by obviously 3.5-inch squares. Your half square triangles started out as 4-inch square pieces. They were sewn together to create the half square triangles, and then those half square triangles were trimmed down to 3.5 inches. So if you've been following this series, we're getting ready to stitch these pieces together, and we will do it very much, or I'll say exactly like we did the others, where we're using our 1/4-inch seam allowance to piece these together. I am going to piece them column by column, or 2 columns, and then I will attach the 2 halves of each of the 4 rows. I will then attach the rows, and then we'll end up with 2 arch square quilt blocks. This should be pretty fast, so if you are going to do this as a sew along with me, I think it's, if you just go through and cut all of your pieces and line them up, it goes through pretty quickly piecing it all together. So I'm going to get started with that activity here, and then we'll be back at the end with the completed quilt block. So in between all of the stitching, I will be opening up the seams. I like to press my seams open. That's something I won't show on camera, but you'll see once we get started. Okay, here we go. The blocks have been sewn in pairs, and so now I will go through and connect each pair to create full rows. And then once that is completed, like I mentioned earlier, we'll come back and connect the rows. Number 5 is done. I kind of like it. I mean, I think I like all of them. Some of them I don't necessarily. I don't love maybe the fabrics that I picked to go with all of them, but this one I like a lot. So done with block number 5. In this video we will do block number 6 as well. So that will be coming up here shortly. Block number 6, and it's called Old Tippy Canoe. It is just a bunch of half square triangles. So I paused the video to go off and make all the half square triangles and press the seams open and then trim them. So again, like the other half square triangles, these all started out as 4-inch squared pieces. The half square triangles were made, and then they were trimmed down to 3.5 inches. For this particular design, 8 pink 4-inch squares, and then 4 of the white ones, and then in this one I have 4 of the gray ones. So using 8 pink squares, 4 white squares, and 4 of the gray squares, then that netted this design here, which is actually 16 blocks that are all trimmed to 3.5 inches squared. So now I'm going to piece them together using my 1/4-inch foot. Let me just change that. And I think I can do this really quickly. And then we will call this video done. It's getting a little late. I'm getting tired. But I do want to get all of this done today so we can move on to the next set of blocks. Okay, so again, this is Tippy Canoe. This is block number 6. We're going to make 2 of these. Started off with 4-inch square pieces. Created half square triangles. Trim them down to 3.5 inches. Okay, let's get started.
Where's Adina?
Bedside with my mother. She's still in shock. It's not the right moment to bother her with business time.
A new beginning.
Hello?
I'm sorry to disturb you out of the blue. I'm sure you've got a lot more important things to do.
No. Nothing important. Accounting, invoices.
You're working?
We gotta get to work at some point.
Yes, of course. It's just that Ellie told me you didn't want to be bothered with business matters.
What? You've seen him? Where?
He just left with Benny Feldman. You didn't know. I see.
And what did he say?
How are you taking it? Give me one of those sacks. You'll never get the smell out of your car. It's a rental. Pack it in one of the bags. And now, Adina.
This can't wait.
What's wrong?
You know about the meeting with the lawyers tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything, though. Listen,
Ellie's trying to cut us out of the company. He's going to sign a deal with another company.
Shit, stay.
I need you, lawyer. We need to do this.
On my way. I have to go. We're almost done. I can't move it now. I'll be back. No. No games here, friend. Tahiri wants everything out of here now. I'll just meet up with one of your guys somewhere else. I said if you want to transport it yourself.
Listen, I can't. You fucked up here, and now it's my turn. The least you can do is cooperate.
We were just wondering where you are.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Just finished lunch. Are you on your way?
That's why I'm calling. I won't be on time to get Tommy for the film.
Really? But it's all he's been talking about this Chinese boy with superpowers.
I'm aware, but there's too much going on now. Tell him I'll make it up to him, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Keela.
Bye.
Oh, why would it be just you and no one else?
Billy says he doesn't want any issues.
So tell him that I'll make sure that there'll be no issue with us.
He won't take the risk.
Personal disputes between brothers can ruin a perfectly good business.
And what will happen to Adina?
She can remain in her role in the firm, and I'll make sure that her family is provided for in the future.
Exactly what Uncle, may his memory be a blessing, would have wanted. All he wanted was the business to stick around and provide for future generations. I've looked into this carefully. Ellie is right. It's the best way there is to be sure to live some diamonds with you for 50 years. This is the only way, my man.
I understand you doing this to me. You don't owe me anything. But Adina, you go and stab her in the
That's
back.
not what this is.
It sure seems that way. You betrayed my trust. You attempted to take over the company and sell off half of it.
I kept you out of it because I knew you'd react this way, and of course I get it, but I did it for the company.
Company, for real?
Really, no, even for you. This shit has been over for a day and you're already scheming.
Don't speak like that to
So to
me.
think that they called me a traitor.
This isn't about us, it's about the future of the family.
Are you serious?
I have never been so insulted and so humiliated and disgraced in my entire life. You made an ass of me, Ellie, in front of everybody.
There was no other way.
What do you mean there was no other way? You maybe could have asked me.
What would you have said, huh? You wonder why I can't trust you? Look at yourselves. You've always sided with him over me. Whatever I did, it was always you two against me. And Yanke took your side too. I had to do everything myself. I've always been alone. And I've deserved what I've taken.
You really think Mom will go for this?
She already agreed. It's already done. Lawyers were notified it will be done tomorrow. Sorry about the way you found out about it. It was always my plan to explain it with Mom altogether.
Ellie. You spent your life believing that you were owed something. That's not true. You always got way more than you deserved. All because we pitied you. And now you've stolen the rest. But you'll screw this up. Not because you're bad at your job, but because no one has ever respected you.
Well, can I get you some candy? Guys, do you want to do something secret? Sound good? Oh, this way. Come on. Fire! Can we get some popcorn? Can we? We have our own snacks. Okay?
Got my coffee?
You're late.
Sorry.
So I said not to wait.
I'm here now. I have a job for you.
I have a job.
I need this to be in London this evening.
You want me to drive this there?
I know how to cover it.
Never in prison.
What?
Better to be outside.
Is it fixed?
I have the luggage, but
Well. Do you have it with you?
yes,
So, get it in. Today.
that's not possible.
Another week like this, Noah, and we're done. You get it here now.
It's dangerous.
You started this job.
Finish it. I understand things aren't easy for you right now, but I need you to
Put all of that aside for a moment and make this work.
work.
Where'd you go so suddenly?
Adina, we've got to meet.
Yeah, great. I want to find out how this was allowed to happen.
Meet me in 10 minutes at the station by the bridge.
Oh, yeah. What's going on?
Central Station by the bridge. I'm asking, please.
Why can't we talk to each other at home?
I have to stay close to the car.
What for?
Listen, I need your help. I need to have a Kadisha van for a bit.
Why, what's in the car?
No, nobody's dead, but there's something I gotta transfer in the van.
What do you mean in the van? What, I'm supposed to be Cheva Kadisha now?
They know you, and what's more, they trust you.
Noya, what is this about?
Adina,
What
it's
have you
best.
dragged us into?
The deal we all made, it's not so simple with these folks. It's about a lot more than stones.
No. What, drugs?
I didn't want to involve you, but now I have to. Carrot buys their drugs and they launder their money with our diamonds. It's a three-way deal. This is the price we pay to save the company.
Ellie knew exactly who you were.
If I knew Ellie was going to do this, I wouldn't have done this to the family.
I let you into my home. And I trusted you. I let you bring in your world of filth.
I did it for you, you hear? I suppose you thought there'd be no mess.
You never mentioned the drugs in the deal.
There's no other options.
There were no other options? Oh. You think you're so different than Ellie? But you're not. You're both the same.
Adina, wait.
I'll see what I can do.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Schreier.
I'm very glad to hear from you, Adina.
Yes, Rivki mentioned to me your desire to make amends.
Yes, very much so.
There is something you might do, but it'll be a bit of a secret that we keep between us.
Anything you want.
I'll call you back. Yes, I'll call you back. Dina, wonderful.
You asked my brother to cut me out of my father's company, huh?
No, I'd never do that.
Stop lying, I know.
You know how much I think of you, respect you. I would never ask for you to be cut out of the firm. Never.
Yet you've done just that.
Only because Benny insisted it be this way. He said that the three of you never agree on anything. That it would be a disaster. I can't work that way, huh?
Who was it who put together this deal of yours? I should have known you couldn't organize this.
What?
It was Benny. He's manipulating you.
Adina, no one's manipulating me. I'm not a kid.
Ellie, when did he offer you this partnership?
Please, stopping this is a waste of time. I've received the contract. This is happening.
Let me look at that contract.
It's a good deal.
Let me look at the contract.
Here.
Let me see. You're a fool.
What?
He gets 5%.
So what? That's a finder's fee for Rosenberg. I'm not involved.
Ellie, it says 5% shared evenly between both sides. So now I can say with Rosenberg against
No, wait. I have 51%.
No, Ellie, you've got less. You've got 51% minus 2.5. Think it through.
Benny wouldn't do that. That snake.
We should have known he'd do something like this. Schmuck.
Yeah. Look, no matter what happened, we all need to be at the meeting with the lawyers tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Where are we?
In the room there? Just playing like the film. 5th time today.
You took them to the movies?
I couldn't let him be so low all day.
How was it?
Yeah, it was wonderful, they thought, and I thought so too. It was funny and lovely.
I wish I'd been there with you.
I'll get him 1 sec.
Yes.
I did ask you to keep that phone with you, didn't I?
What do you want from me?
Tomorrow
At 12 noon, in front of the Palace of Justice. I'll pick you up.
I have nothing to say.
Mr. Wilson, I warned you, didn't I?
I can't do this.
Look, tomorrow you don't show, I'll pick you up from your office. But with agents.
I don't have an office.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not part of the company now. Not anymore.
Yeah, we'll discuss this tomorrow.
Just leave me alone, please.
Mr. Wilson,
And I'll see you tomorrow. Mr.
Trouble doesn't work.
One moment.
Quickly, if you could.
I'll try. Sorry, it was canceled.
What? Cancel?
Your pass has been revoked, sir.
No, that... Good morning, Auntie. Auntie? Everything I did to fulfill Uncle Ezra's wishes.
Don't speak his name ever again.
Auntie?
I'm sorry, sir. You gotta vacate the premises now. Please, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going. Okay.
I mean, he lied directly to my face. His own aunt is flesh and blood.
Well, Mama, you know, greed blinds men.
No. This isn't greed. It's jealousy. Benny's always had a desire to be in our family. His only way in was to steal from us.
And he knew exactly who would help him out.
Help out. I was misled too, you know.
Yeah, because you're a fucking idiot.
Don't talk that way to us.
Am I wrong, Adina?
None of this has anything to do with you.
Quiet enough. You do nothing but attack each other. You fight your own family. Shame on you all.
Please be seated if you don't mind. Okay. The shares in capital of Volson Diamonds at the moment are in the possession of Sarah Volson, present here. We were gathered this morning to transfer shares. Sarah Volson's already confirmed that all the shares, 100%, and all the capital of Volson Diamonds transferred to her daughter, Idina Glazer, also transferred.
What? Mama, what is this?
These two caused such a mess, it's over. For some reason, the Lord endowed you with more intelligence and honesty than anyone. I know. You're going to make us so proud.
Yeah, we should be perfectly clear. This transfer will be tax-free. So we advise you to do this as quickly as
Oh,
possible.
wait. No, yeah. You're right, yes. They want to go again. And so do I.
Kara, there is no again. This was a one-off.
Oh, come on.
It was our agreement. We were very clear. One-time deal. I promised my family. I can't make them partners with those people.
Don't be ungrateful, Noah. This is the only reason your family business is still running. I'm sure you get that. Don't worry about it, love. It's a good deal. Just make sure you keep everyone happy. That's all there is to it, right?
Has your mom come to a decision yet about the house? It's just too large, Adina. She can't stay here alone.
She's not going to. This is the family's house. And we have to ensure it stays that way. And, you've always wanted a larger yard for the kids, no? Very good.
Come on, get in.
What's happening?
Okay, this is the final, I guess, I don't know. This is, Block 6 is now completed. So this is the old Tippecanoe is the pattern. And so again, this was made with all half square triangles. We started out with 8 4-inch pieces of the pink pattern here, and 4 4-inch pieces of the gray, and 4 4-inch pieces of the white. And then I created the half square triangles and trimmed them back to 3.5 inches. And so then this is what you end up with. I actually really like this block a lot because depending on what you focus on, you see, you know, various things, right? So at first when I was looking at this pattern, I mostly was focusing on kind of where you see the gray pieces, which to me looks like a bow tie. But then if you kind of step back then and focus on the pink pieces, then it begins to just look like several pinwheels put together. But yes, this is the final block. I think once you start quilting, you'll find that there's a number of ways to do the same thing. So while as a beginner pattern, I created this with just the thought of using half square triangles, but you can do this in various different ways. Like these are hourglass blocks here that could have been created. So yeah. So now we will complete the video for today. So in today's series, we completed blocks number 4, 5, and 6, and we will move on to the next blocks, and very soon here we will have all 10 of our blocks that we need for the straight stitching sew sampler quilt, and then at that point we'll piece all of them together along with some more background fabric to create a fairly nice size quilt that I think you will enjoy. So thank you for watching today. I hope that it's been interesting, and I look to see you at the next video. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I would really value any comments that you might like to make. I'm sure there's probably some people who are experienced quilters who may come across this video. If so, please feel free to share any time-saving tips that you might have. If you are a newer quilter, definitely post any questions that you might have. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have as we venture through this series. So subscribe, like, and comment, and we will see you in the next video.